Good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I am your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim Vicious, and we are talking about Fastlane. Gonna bring up some highlights also about with the Fallout show. And Fastlane, it was good. It was a kind of, it wasn't a bad pay-per-view. I mean, it had its bad moments, but all in all, it was pretty decent. It was a good, solid pay-per-view. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, it was in Baltimore. This was actually random wrestling fact for you folks. This was the first Payback pay-per-view to be done outside of the city of Chicago. Oh yes, both Payback pay-per-views were done in Chicago first. So, with that said, on with the show. Talking about the pre-show first. First match that they had, and yes, I said first match because they had two matches on the pre-show. One was completely unannounced altogether. R-Truth versus Stardust, and I'm not even gonna lie, I had zero interest in this match whatsoever. It was not satisfying, to say the least, whatsoever. I mean, it was a really quick match, and it felt very like Monday Night Raw-ish as far as what like quick matches go. It was, ugh. You know, R-Truth got the win, okay. There was no story behind the match. I mean, that's the biggest issue you could say that I had with that match. But moving on, next match, and it was the one that was actually hyped for the pre-show. The Ascension versus the Meta Powers. Macho Man Dow in Axelmania, and oh dear God. Jay Lethal is declaring gimmick infringement on Sandow like you wouldn't frickin' believe, given this Macho Man Dow crap. You know? I mean, seriously, okay. I laughed. I thought it was funny. But dude, no way. Okay, you want to do this as a little spoof for 1 or 2 nights? Okay, that's all well and good. Do not make this your permanent gimmick. Do not do this. Because seriously, if it don't feel right, you know? Sandow is so capable of doing more. But moving on, as far as what the match goes, you know, it was relatively quick. They got in there, the Meta Powers, they wound up hitting a couple spots. You know, Axel did the leg drop, and then after that, next thing you know, Ascension took over, hit the Follow Man, and got the 1, 2, 3 in. That was pretty much it. Yeah, so moving on. So now we're on the actual show now. First match of the night, Sheamus versus Ziggler. This was a good, beautiful, solid match. Very good, very physical. It was a good pace through the whole match. Absolutely loved seeing it. Enjoyed every last minute of it. Probably one of the, there was, you know, it had everything you would want for good storytelling. Not saying it was a 5-star match, but I'm saying it had everything for good storytelling in the match, you know. And probably one of the funniest parts, and I'm pretty sure every fangirl out there, every Ziggler fangirl's ovaries exploded all at once when that happened, was Ziggler hiked up part of his tights and then put Sheamus's face directly on his ass. And man, my brain goes to some weird places because all I could think is Ziggler's ass probably tastes like bod and spray on tan. Ugh. Don't know why anybody would want that. But yeah, after that, Sheamus rolled right on out of the ring. You know, it was like, you know, it's like down in water to wash it out of his mouth. all that. And it was good. He played it good, and definitely digging this whole heel persona of him, looking for, like, you know, actual quote-unquote real men to fight. You know, it's fitting him. It's fitting him, and it's good. Which, hey, the brother definitely needs it, you know. But, yeah, it's Sheamus. Right after that, Sheamus, he started getting dominant in the match, especially right around near the end. Yeah, had him. Next, you know, Ziggler went to go throw a headbutt or two at Sheamus. Next, you know, wound up getting busted open. Speculations on him doing a blade job, and there was a GIF rolling out there on Twitter and all that, showing that he did. And you know, from what I seen on that GIF, can't really see it that well because it shows from a back perspective like this, with him doing the headbutt and then hand going over like that. Just like that, palm. So, short from him having the blade literally right here on the middle of the hand, and then I don't see on how he really could have. I mean, but anything's possible, I guess. I mean, but he doesn't seem like the type to want to go and do a blade job, and and everyone knows Vince is against doing the blade jobs. But either way, did that. Next thing you know, he's so out of it after that, he's barely able to stand on his knees. Next thing you know, Sheamus, wham, hits him with the bro kick, gets a 1, 2, 3, and there you go. There's your winner. Next matchup, we got the New Day versus Kid and Cesaro in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Now, with this one, it was kind of cool because New Day came out first talking about with the power of positivity and called out one of the dudes that was for the Orioles that were out there, and even started ribbing them, talking about on how the Orioles haven't won a World Series in over 30 years, and can't help but laugh on that. But also, same time, hey, guys, you know, I'm a Phillies fan, so, you know, I'm used to the saying, there's always next year, so you're never going to hear me make an argument to you on that. As far as what this match goes, this was beautiful. This was exactly what tag teaming should be. You know, especially, you know, the fact that both teams had matching gear. It wasn't like one was just wearing their regular trunks and one was wearing a new set. No, they were both teams were wearing matching sets to go and show that they are. It's little things like that that can help build to make the bigger product, to make the big things look so much better all in a whole. You know? Now, Kid and Cesaro, they won the first fall in the match. You know, doing the Cesaro swing leading into the drop kick. I'm calling that move the swing kick. You know, but I don't know what it legitimately really is called. I don't think they got a name for it yet, but it's probably one of the sickest moves out there, and absolutely loved seeing when Big E and Cesaro were fighting because, man, oh man, can them two go. And when Cesaro, man, like I said, he is my favorite guy on the main roster right now, hands down. You know, and it's, you know, and the next thing you know, as they're holding their own in the match, next thing you know, New Day winds up getting it. They wind up isolating Kid, take it, neutralize Cesaro. Next thing you know, they hit him with the spiked big ending. Wham! They get a 1, 2, 3. So now it's tied 1-1 on each end. So now we're down to the last pin. Now with this one, it was good. There was just constant action, 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 action everywhere. And I'm not talking like fast-paced Ring of Honor action. I'm just talking, it was just, you know, you didn't really see rest periods in this. You know, which, wow, that is great. You need, you know. And you know, how the ending came to be. You know, it's Cesaro took out Kofi. Next thing you know, Woods ripped off his vest, climbed in, grabbed Cesaro and did a roll-up on him. Ref didn't see that it was Woods because Woods wasn't even part of the team. Wasn't on the team that night, you know, even though they're claiming that they're doing the Freebird rules with the titles. You know, it was Kofi and Big E. But Woods Woods came in, did a roll-up. All the ref saw was from the shoulders down, didn't see head. Yeah, got counted 1, 2, 3, rang the bell, and you know, you just see, and New Day just walks out like, yeah, we won. And then later they announced that they're going to do a tag team elimination. They're going to do an Elimination Chamber tag match for the titles at the Chamber pay-per-view in a few weeks, which, yeah, they announced on Raw. They showed on Raw all the teams that are going to be on there. It's going to be the New Day, Kid and Cesaro, the Ascension, Lucha Dragons, Los Matadors, and the Primetime Players. So, I'm calling it now. Based off of all the vignettes that they've been having them do, and on Raw, that Primetime Players dominated and destroyed, pretty much came in, dominated and destroyed everyone, that they're winning. You know, they're going to win the Chamber and they're going to win the gold. Yeah, that's my prediction for that. I'm throwing it out there now, couple weeks in advance for all y'all to see. Yeah. So, next matchup, it was Ryroyd versus Bray Wyatt. I wanted to make this a piss break, but I couldn't just because I needed to see Bray destroy him. And, yeah, in all honesty, Bray, he really needed this win. You know, especially coming off of losing to The Undertaker at Mania, because, you know, if you lose to Undertaker at WrestleMania, where do you go from there? You know, where are you going to go as far as a character standpoint? Where's your next story going? That's what I'm saying. But, anyways, this match, man, I was just so hoping right from the get-go that right out of nowhere, Godzilla was going to stomp down the streets of Baltimore, crack open the roof of the arena, see Ryback, pick him up, look at him do, and then start chewing on him like he was a piece of gum, and then just, and then close the lid, and then just go back to Tokyo. I'm not asking for too much. But yeah. Seriously, it can't fucking stand Ryroyd one bit. And the fact that, you know, about maybe 20 minutes in the match, he winds up looking gassed. He winds up looking gassed in it, and then they wind up playing it because of Bray working on the ribs. No, he started showing that he was getting gassed before Bray did a senton onto Ryback off of the apron onto him. He started showing signs that he looked it then, you know, and Skip my boy, that's what happens when you wind up doing too many weights and not enough cardio. Do double the cardio for the amount of weights that you do. You'll wind up building up a whole ton of stamina, so that way you can go for the long distance. Good example, Ric Flair. I brought this up before on past episodes. In fact, I even looked up what documentary I brought it up on. It was on the 25 Greatest Rivalries, and it was on one with Flair talking about on how he prepared. He increased his cardio, which is saying something because Flair's pretty much one of the kings of cardiovascular work. You know, he does a Stairmaster. He goes and hits like the 20th floor on a Stairmaster. Doesn't even break a sweat. He starts hitting 50, 60, then he's starting to. You know, Flair is that was a smart move on his part when Flair wrestled. Tons of cardio. You need to have lots of cardiovascular work so that way you can stretch out your match. That way you have long-lasting energy to go through the long haul. You know? But yeah. Aside from that, you know, it was... Yeah, it's not much else I really wanted to... I tried to pay attention to this match as best as I could, folks. I'm not going to lie, but the sheer amount of shit that I constantly want to just throw at my TV anytime I see Ryback on TV prevented me from it. You know, I was able to... I jumped for joy, and you'd have thought like I won the lottery when I saw Bray hit the Sister Abigail on Ryback and win. And yeah, so Bray won. Thank you. So, yeah. So, moving forward from that, next matchup we got now is Cena versus Rusev in an I Quit match for the US title. And folks, really, it's John Cena in an I Quit match. When has he lost an I Quit match? And this isn't me shitting on him as being an anti-Cena fan shitting on him. I'm calling it like I see it. You know, Cena never saying I quit is the equivalent of the Undertaker streak for him. You know? As far as what this match goes, it was a decent I Quit match. A lot of people were shitting on it, saying that they weren't in favor of it, they didn't like it. Me, I personally, I kind of dug it. The gripes that I could say that I had, though, with it was Mike Chioda just constantly grabbing the mic going, "Do you quit? Do you want to quit? Do you want to quit? Do you want to quit?" Like after every move, you know, headlock, do you want to quit? Suplex, do you want to quit? You know, launch into the corner, do you want to quit? Sip a cup of coffee, do you want to quit? Read something on Twitter, do you want to quit? Getting asked, do you want to quit? Do you want to quit? You know, just continuously like that, going over and over. No, give rest periods between asking so that way it helps build, you know? Make it look like that way it makes it look like either guy, whether it was Rusev or Cena, was showing such aggression and determination to make the other person say that they were just beating relentlessly non-stop for a moment, and then they had to pull themselves back to make themselves realize, I have to have him ask so that way I can win. That's on how you do it. You know? Something like that. Yeah, short, sweet, simple, to the point. Yeah, but as far as with, you know, the brutality in this match, so to say, it was on par for a PG I Quit match. You know? It was pretty good, you know, the physicality was nice. I definitely dug the psychology behind this match. I didn't really see that many faults. Probably personal gripe was Rusev putting Lana in a corner. Nobody puts Lana in a corner. No, I tried to think of a porn joke in regards to that. I got nothing. Yeah, I got nothing. But that aside, moving forward, you know, they wound up dragging the fight from the ring to the outside through the crowd, and then Rusev doing an Alabama slam to John through a table, and not through the nice sweet spot in the middle of a table. No. He wound up getting near the end where the legs are part of the table, which hurts like a son of a bitch. That's the bad part you want to break when you hit a table. You're just like, oh, fuck, I'm going to feel that tomorrow. And, you know, then Rusev, he goes over, he sees he's near the pyrotechnics, and he's like, boom. pushes a button, sees pyros go up, and he's like, oh. And he just has that look like a kid, like, setting off fireworks for the first time, like, cool. And then proceeds to try and go and, you know, kick Cena into them. Cena blocks it, and then AA's him through the pyro, and you just see a whole bunch of pyro and sparks fly up, like, you know, which, hey, that was pretty cool. You know, won't lie on that. You know, the fight eventually drags back to the ring, and Cena gets suplexed on a guardrail. You know, and, you know, it's eventually Rusev, he goes, grabs a turnbuckle, actually dismantles it, and goes to get ready to go and try and use it on Cena. Cena winds up getting a second win and puts on an STF using a rope for leverage. Now, my big gripe on that, I can say I do have a gripe on it now that I think about it. The way Cena was using the rope to pull. Now, probably my favorite I Quit match, you would think it would be the one with Rock and Mankind. No, no, no. In fact, Tommy Dreamer with C.W. Anderson in ECW. The Extreme I Quit match, that was mine. Because the way Dreamer wound up applying that crossface to make CW say I quit. He wound up using an end of the table, the plastic strap, pulled right on the eyes and pulled up like that. And it looked like Cena was trying to do something like that with it like this on the chin. But Rusev had his one hand like this on the rope, pulling it, and you could see he's not holding it down like that to keep it from going all the way up. Dude, deal with the pain for a little bit until that spot is done. So that way, you know, it sells. It's not that hard. Lord knows, you know, other guys are doing a lot less, are working on a lot lower on cards and taking a lot harder shots for it. And Rusev, he starts screaming in Bulgarian, and then eventually Lana comes in and starts saying, he quits, he quits, he quits. So, apparently in an I Quit match, you're allowed to have someone else say, I quit for you. Which, they did address it on Raw. Rusev wound up addressing it to Lana, and Lana wound up saying he was saying I quit in Bulgarian. Yeah, I don't speak Bulgarian, so I don't know. So, that was that. Now, Lana is officially done with Rusev whatsoever. And now she's with Ziggler, which every Ziggler fangirl on Earth now officially hates Lana. And every Lana fanboy, as well as fangirls, now officially hate Ziggler. Especially mostly because of the fact that they were winding up, that they were, you know, kissing pretty hardcore on TV. But yeah, next matchup after that, we got the women's tag match, the Bellas versus Tamina and Naomi. And first big gripe on this match was, this is the third pay-per-view in a row where the women's title is not on the line. You know, there was nothing saying that they couldn't make a random stipulation saying if Nikki gets pinned, then she loses her championship to whoever pins her. You know, something like that, even if you knew, you know, or something ridiculous like that. But, yeah, it didn't even feel like a pay-per-view quality match. It felt like a good Raw women's tag match. Not like a good women's pay-per-view tag match. You know, but probably one of the cooler parts in it was, and it wasn't even meant to be, was that when Tamina started throwing out super kicks, next thing you know, crowd started chanting Young Bucks for them, and, you know, and the Young Bucks wound up putting out there on Twitter right when the crowd was chanting that, If you keep chanting our names, we'll eventually appear. Not really, no. We won't. So, gotta love the way the Bucks always troll the fans, you know? Especially on how they were saying, kind of funny, we lost the IWGP Junior Tag titles, PWG Tag titles, and ROH Tag titles all within the same month. ... Makes you think. And then sending one out a little while later. Sending out sometime later. Hey, at Vince McMahon, check your DMs. You know, things like that. Gotta love on how they troll the fans. But back to the women's match. Wasn't really much to call on this match. I mean, there was really the super kicks. You know, that was it. And I mean, aside from that, it's Naomi wound up hitting her finisher and it got kicked out of, which is becoming a big issue as of late because, you know, what's the point in having a finisher if everyone's just constantly kicking out of them lately? You know? I mean, for crying out loud. Okay. I was a wrestler. When I was wrestling, I had two finishes. I had the Vicious DDT and I had the Taz Mission. And I only used the Taz Mission very rarely when we had it booked the way they were going to kick out of the DDT. I would do that as a desperation move to say, okay, I can't make it, I can't do it that way, so then I'm just going to straight up choke you out. And that's on how it was. You know, if you're going to have people kick out of finishers, at least give them an alternative finishing move. You know? It makes zero sense to me on why you're going to have a finishing maneuver just to have somebody kick out of it like 4 or 5 times and then have them eventually not be able to kick out. It's literally, it's professional wrestling. It's not a pro wrestling video game where, you know, where you have to hit the finisher 4 or 5 times on your opponent before it'll actually stay down for a pin. You know? Speaking of pinfalls, how this match came to end, Nikki was up on the top, and Naomi just grabbed her and tossed her down, which, hey, wasn't the finisher, but it did the job. Next, pinned her, got the 1, 2, 3. Next matchup, Neville versus Barrett, and man, can these two guys go? I could watch a best of 70 series with these guys, man. I absolutely love on how these two are just meshing so well together. I don't know if it's because of the fact that they're both from the UK or, you know, or that, you know, like they're spending so much time on the road talking to each other, like, hey, next matchup, why don't we try this, or do that, or do this, or something along those lines. Excuse me. But they're doing great, and it's phenomenal, you know? But, yeah, did notice, though, at one point, but as good as it was, ending wasn't that good, though. Neville did an over-the-top dive, landed on Barrett. When he landed, looked like he wound up tweaking his knee. They played it the next night on Raw saying he did. You know? And wound up, ref was doing the count on them both. Neville got in the ring at 8. Barrett was up on the apron at 9, and then was just, no. At 10, and then just and Neville's just like, what? And Barrett proceeds to go and knock him out and then put on his kingly garments. And then next thing you know, Neville comes back in. Barrett goes to try and take a swing at him with his scepter. Neville blocks him, stops him, and then next thing you know, lines him up and goes and hits him with the red arrow. And then just leaves it at that. So, you know, and they did announce that they're going to be in the chamber match for the Intercontinental title, as well as with Ryroyd and Sheamus. So, and Ziggler also. So, you know, rumor has it Sheamus is going to win the title on that. People think A lot of people are shitting on that idea. I don't know. I kind of see it in a good way, especially considering Sheamus is a good worker and the Intercontinental title is the worker's title. Not saying it's a bad title, but it's the wrestling worker's title, you know. And given his new gimmick and his new character, I think it can work for him. Just do not give that title a mohawk or ginger red leather. Ugh. So yeah, see, thinking that kind of an idea on the title wound up actually starting to knock me out. I actually know I'm lying. One of my producers has on Ali Ben's and Mass Mark's War Paint and Mass show on their tablets. I see you over there, Ed. You can turn it off now. Thank you. Moving on. Next matchup, it was the main event of the night, the Fatal 4-Way. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose for the title. Seth putting his title on the line. Everyone was going nuts saying, oh, the Shield are going to reunite, the Shield are going to reunite, the Shield are going to reunite. And Creative just looking like, Shield going to reunite, huh? We'll show them. Hey, guys, go and do this, just to mess with them. And which they proceeded to do, but I'll get into that in a moment. Match started out with J&J going and working on Randy and Dean, I believe, right off bat. Not 100% certain, but started working on them. Next thing you know, and it was just mayhem all over, non-stop, fast-paced the whole way, right up until eventually when Randy's knocked down to the ground, and Seth looks at Roman and Dean like, come on, let's take him out. Let's take him out. And they proceed to clear all the crap off of the announce table and then triple powerbomb Randy Orton through the table, and everyone's just like, the Shield's back. And Seth's like, in between Roman and Dean, like, yeah, we got this, right, boys? Yeah, right? 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 Fuck. And then proceeds to get the shit kicked out of him. And then they go to get ready, and then they go and clear off all the stuff on the Spanish table. Go to get ready to set him up to powerbomb him on there. Excuse me. And then out comes Kane. Roman and Dean proceed to start beating the shit out of Kane, and then they give him a spike power bomb twice onto Seth. And then after that, they just looked like not much else to do, and Roman just looks at him like, loser buys beers. And then they proceed to go in the ring and start going and working on each other, which, hey, no problem with that whatsoever. You want to look at some of the best matches anyone's ever had. Guarantee it'll 10 get you 20. It's with their best friends. You know, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Mick Foley, Terry Funk. You know, things like that. You know, it's proven fact. The better the friend you are with somebody, the harder you're going to hit and the better quality match you're going to have. You know? But, digress. As it went on between Roman and Dean, you know, Seth wound up eventually getting his second win, came in, started stopping them. Randy wound up coming back in, and then Randy just went into straight up Randy Orton mode and was RKOing anything he could grab his hands on. And match wound up coming to an end with Seth pulling out the pedigree on Randy, you know, and which, hey, that was a bit of a shock on that, because really, who expected Seth Rollins to pull out the pedigree? Everyone was expecting to use that move that he got from CJ Parker. Glad he didn't, but still, I was like, holy shit. And, yeah, right after that, pinned him, got the 1-2-3, and next thing you know, wound up, they called it right after that, with next night on Raw, that now Seth is going to be going up against Dean Ambrose for the title at the Chamber pay-per-view in a couple weeks, as well as Cena will be going up against somebody at the Chamber pay-per-view as well. Now, on Monday night, Cena did issue another U.S. Open challenge and did the ever elusive "if you want some, come get some." And the internet frickin' broke when Kevin Owens came out. Kevin Owens came out and looked and was like, and it's like, Mr. Cena, it's good to see you. Yeah, it's him. Cut a promo talking about on how he's on how we are gonna fight. We are gonna fight one day, but when we do, it's gonna be on my terms. And then Owens proceeded to knock the crap out of him, decked Cena, tossed him in the ropes, and then wham, pop-up powerbomb on him, and then picked up the U.S. titles, like, threw it down and then stomped his foot on it and held the NXT one up. And dude, that was fucking awesome. You know, Owens definitely made his mark in WWE now. You know, like I said, Kerry Silkin, he's got to be sitting at home watching Monday Night Raw, just sitting there thinking, I made that boy. Fuck what Jim Cornette thought and said about him. I helped make him. You know, I swear, he's gotta. You know, but yeah, that was it. So all in all, Payback, I give it a good, I give it a good 6.5 to a 7. The Raw, Fallout Raw, same score. But, you know, as always, folks, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch the other episodes, look for me on Twitter at TimVicious. Make sure y'all also look for my backup account, Tim_Vicious. Also, I'm out there on that whole Facebook gimmick as Tim Ash, you know. And do not forget to follow all of these cool-ass cats right here on Twitter. Vicky Earls. Make sure y'all check out Vicky's podcast, The Irish Commodity. I am Danny Sunday, Mucky Moss, Axel Mulligan. Make sure you check out my boy Darren Dreyer, who goes by the Twitter handle of Axel Mulligan's show, The SmackDown Breakdown. Sunday Segue. Folks, I did guest star on the Sunday Segue podcast this week, which we did review predictions for Payback. Unfortunately, my predictions weren't that good, and Ollie kind of wound up costing me one of the games that we had on there. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Ollie. Also, do not forget to follow Sinfully Sabrina, Cranky Grandpa, Legion Lady Aaron, the douchebag Oliver Ben, as well as his cohort, the douchebag Just a Stupid Mark, as well as my client, who, as I have said before, is the true Raw General Manager, Bronx Bitch Forever. And, folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck yous.